Hello, welcome to another episode of my Not Your Average Bible Studies. My name is Allie with A. Marie Speaks. Today will be session 48, and it is October 26, 2025. Thanks for being here on a beautiful Sacred Sunday afternoon, about 1600 my time. Lovely day, really beautiful fall, autumn day. Happy to be here and getting ready to kick off chapter 25 in Matthew. A couple of interesting parables. I think I'll just read two of them, and I sort of have planned where we'll leave it off for here and cut chapter 25 into two parts. So let's get down into it, I guess. And we'll see where the conversation takes us in these interesting parables. So, Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps, and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there not be enough for us and you, but go ye rather to them that sell, and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, the door was shut. And afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. This, I think, is interesting. I've heard a couple of different takes on scripture like this parable, with the oil in lamps, and the symbology of it as well, the metaphysical metaphor, And also, it's interesting, there's quite a few of these preparedness kind of metaphors, to the different traditional cultures, different things that might be transferable, to different people. But anyways, let's read the second here. Pick it back up. On 14, right? Yeah, 14. For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded them with the same, and made them other 5 talents. And likewise he that had received 2, he also gained another 2. But he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth, and hid his Lord's money. After a long time the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoned with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought another 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou hast delivered unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast kept faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. And he also, that had received 2 talents, came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained another 2 talents beside them. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is thine. His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, and gathered where I had not strawed. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received my own with usury. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which hath 10 talents. For unto every one that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into the outer darkness. There shall be a weeping and a gnashing of teeth. And again, here's that phrase, and I ended the podcast last week with this phrase, speaking about this and saying how it comes up quite often. And it's, been very short timing here for reading, just where I thought I would leave it again, at that same phrase again. I thought perhaps it might take me a little longer to read those 2 scenes. But I would like, just to speak quickly on the second parable, although I really can't create clarity around the second parable, because for me, I get it and I understand it, and also, I guess, from a Jewish background, society, cultural, economy, the law-wise, and like reciprocation, and this sort of interest, and things must be always productive, and not productive, productive in a sense that is like materialistically has a produce. There's a manifestable, tangible gain that can be measured with them. That's the only things that matter, is things that can be measured and accounted for and held accountable. And to me, and I think to Jesus, in fact, he understood that love is immeasurable, that most good things in this world are immeasurable and beyond measure, and should not be measured. In fact, they are miraculous, divine works of the Father, creation, our creative energies that are a gift bestowed by the Father. And equal in such a different variety than we can put a stamp of equality upon in this world. So, standing in their sort of stature, looking out of their glasses and down their nose at the books, I can sort of understand the parable. And also to want to have parables that are generic and tailor-fit to certain normalcies. Yeah, I get it. But, I don't know. Yeah. I'd be interested to hear other people's takes on that one, and also on, and I guess, is it because it's seen as a hoarding, fearful act, the way he buries it in the ground? Is that what makes it an intolerable act? Is that what gets the condemnation? Is because of the fear? And is it, and especially where it's kind of like, and perhaps I'm misreading the translations, or I didn't really look into the translations either beforehand. So my own ignorance I'm claiming here, full transparency, if you are new to this, I'm not from a traditional background. I've never been to church or anything like that. And in fact, a couple of times, like at funerals and a couple of random times in childhood going to different things. Like 7 times in my whole life. So I don't have the touch points and sort of the knowledge base that comes with a lot of people who are just hear this and grow up around it, and then want to try to discern for themselves things that they've already been told from others. I just haven't had the exposure points at all. So some things I just go right over my head, but, likewise I see different things that others don't really see sometimes. And that's why, I'm really enjoying this Bible study, and this is my first time ever reading the New Testament as well. I myself am reading through Luke now. I'm no longer, I've read a little further ahead than what I'm reading aloud on the podcast here, but on Sundays, my Bible study. But I by no means am any kind of expert or have any sort of knowledge, like traditional knowledge. Although I'm not adverse to it, and I am seeking in my own time and place and space as I can. But I'd be very interested to hear if anyone has any take or comments that they'd like to share about what the background on this is, a different way to read it, additional comments to it, or anything like that. Because what I was going to say too is, like earlier in the parable in verse 24, it says, Lord, I knew thee that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And again, is this sort of implied by them, I was going to say burgling, and that's not the correct word at all, gambling. But it is sort of like burglary. I don't know, it's a risk thing. It's not the same as stealing, I guess. Unless, of course, like the books are cooked, I guess, or the house always wins in that kind of state with gambling and stuff. But I guess it's sort of implied because they're saying that they gambled the money. Maybe not. Maybe, it could be interpreted in many different ways as to how you make the money back that he gave you, and could you be a part of different industries? And there's lots of services, but anyways, it kind of seems to me to say that he makes money in bad ways. You know what I mean? He's a risky kind of person that is about venture capital kind of state, I don't know, a nicer way to say this. But yeah, so for him, he would be offended that you just sit on that money, I guess, because they expect more. Just like he said, well, better that you put them with the exchanges and the bankers and get interest off of it, And to me, and I always thought it was usury in itself. Isn't this like anti-Christian? So, isn't this one of the legs of Frankenstein? It's major extremity that gets it moving around and makes it so fearful and so monstrous. And the fact that you can claim that, the fact that you can add interest and not just offer plain service out to people, or at least lend them at face value and leave it at that, cut it for an eye for an eye and equal ground. The addition of, interest, extra payment is sort of, to me, I find it to be like offensive, rude, belittling, derogatory, degrading, dehumanizing. It's a separateness to say that you're not whoever that that you don't deserve it almost, you know? And that could be perhaps a bit of poverty consciousness in my own sense of where I've come from, and not having anything, and understanding, well, seeing a great stigma from, upper class to people who are low income or low class or poor, in need and stuff. It can really be seen as sort of somebody who's a burden or drain on society, or won't pull their own weight. Not even can't, for the most part. It's kind of like put on it, like that you won't, and so that you should have to pay all these extra things, that you should have to have a debit card where you have to put $300 or $500 on it first and prove that you could spend that money with the card before they'd even give you any sort of line of credit, which would only be like $100 anyways. It's so crazy, the amount of loops and hoops they make, low credit, low income people, poor people jump through, in order to just try to get the same sort of footing that others just have, But at the same time, I don't believe in credit anyways. I'm not trying to preach anything about anything like that. If I could say anything in regards to the fake system of money, the matrix, and all of this kind of stuff, stay out of it. Never get one. Get away from all of them, and use cash. And only buy what you can afford, and spend only what you need to. And forget about keeping up with the Joneses and all this silly updates and new versions of things, because it really is nothing but addictions, nothing but vices, and sin, if you like that word. You know what I mean? It's the devil. It's chains to all these things. It's material world that, in fact, is supposed to mean nothing to us, right? Supposed to be ready to leave at any moment, ready to give up and pick up a cross and follow Christ. So what's the big deal? In having minimal items, in living within your means, and not having a mansion and 7 cars, or even, owning a house or anything, wherever you're at, being happy with what you're at and exactly what you have. And in fact, realizing if you look around at what you have, even someone like myself, who I live on in a small place, I still have more than enough stuff. I still have plenty of stuff that actually, in fact, is almost luxurious, that I don't really need, that doesn't have a daily use. It might have a sporadic use, a seasonal use, or some things even maybe I put aside that I hardly ever use, like a photo album or backpack or something that just comes in use like a couple of times here and there. To have the space and capacity to keep those things, but to not let them overtake you and to define yourself by them. It's so silly to me how we can get wrapped up in those material things, and they can really turn into identifying with us. But anyways, now I've sort of gotten off on side topics and away from what I was saying, what the scripture is saying, actually. But yeah, anyways, I guess it's about 20 minutes. I think I'll leave the second half here for next week. We'll have a little bit of a shorter episode this time around. Thanks for listening. Like I mentioned, if anyone does have insights or would like to share anything about the parables, I'd love to hear it. Feel free to leave comments, send me emails, send me messages on Telegram if you're over there. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy your wonderful Sunday. Get away from the screens and devices. Get in touch with God, the Father, Creator, Jesus, your higher self, whatever you like to see this as, Mother Earth, nature, your family. See your beautiful connections in your life as inspired by God, as gifts from God. That's what I'm doing and sharing. That's the message. Thank you for listening and being here. Thank you for your contribution to our collective. Thanks for witnessing mine. And I'll see you next time.